So one of the things I tell musicians who haven't yet gotten big numbers on Spotify is they don't realize Spotify's dominance compared to other streaming services. Despite what Apple's press department gets journalists to type, when you get to look at the analytics of artists who are doing millions of streams a year, what you will see is if we exclude YouTube and just compare streaming audio sites, Spotify is usually 80 to 85% of all the streams. It's also the only one of the streaming audio sites that offers extensive work you could do in marketing that can work to build your fan base, so it's the perfect place to concentrate your efforts. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to do Spotify even better than many of your favorite artists. Hi, I'm Jesse Cannon, a music marketing nerd who's teaching musicians how to grow their fan base from 0 to 10,000 fans, and this is Musformation. So each year at the top of the year, I make a video to update you on the latest Spotify strategies. Since along with YouTube, if you do what it wants, you can see massive growth. And a lot has changed in the last year, so I want to check in and update you on how to be up on what you should be doing to blow up on Spotify. One of the biggest mistakes musicians make is they don't release their music in a way that Spotify likes, and do the work that is needed to promote it so it can have as much growth as possible. This is especially silly since if you take making videos, photo shoots, or making the songs out of the equation, this isn't more than a few hours a week. And when I hear this, I always also hear how music is the most important thing to these people, but then I have to hit them with a stare akin to Tony Soprano listening to Christopher Moltisanti talking about working on his movie script. But I know many of you are willing to put in the work, you just don't know what to do, so this video is going to spell it out in order. But before we get started, a key to this video is I'm actually going to tell you how to do it all in chronological order. The most annoying part of this is I'm going to refer to a lot of other videos I've made, and if you hear something you're curious about, each of these subjects has a deeper dive that's linked down below by the chapters in the description. And these videos will be in a playlist in chronological order linked at the end of the video, but even if you're an avid watcher of this channel and worried you know all this, while some of you may be familiar with this stuff, there's some big changes I've never discussed before. Step 1 should start happening once you finish this video, which is you need to get your house in good order, which is your Spotify for Artists profile, since we need to make sure you're a good citizen on Spotify. But you're probably thinking, why the hell am I talking about citizenship when I'm talking about Spotify, since frankly it sounds stupid as f***. So startups love talking about their users being good citizens, meaning that the users of their site are behaving the way they want. And what Spotify wants you to do is do the things that engage the users they bring you, and they want them to have a good experience. This means they want you to take under 30 minutes to just clean up your profile on Spotify using the Spotify for Artists portal, and all they want you to do is put up a few current presentable pictures that are high res that look good, so when some YouTuber like me clicks the full screen, it looks good when it's in back of me. 2 to 3 pictures is amazing, but put up more if you have them. Then update your bio with something compelling that would make people want to listen to more of your music, link your social media, and enter your latest single or playlist into the artist pick field, and then regularly update your user playlists, which we'll get more into in this video later. And if you have a Shopify store that sells your merch, be sure to link it there, and if you want to collect donations for yourself or a charity, you can also add that in your Spotify profile and your artist pick. Put in that bare minimum effort, since Spotify doesn't like to promote you unless you do that, since why would they want to present a slob who refuses to dress up enough to give their users a good experience? The second step is to get your release strategy right. If you missed it, one of my most popular videos is on how to release music to appeal to Spotify and YouTube's algorithms, in order to make your music spread as far as possible. What this entails is releasing your music often enough that you take advantage of your potential fans' attention span, which I believe is optimally putting out music every 60 days, but at most every 30 days. But again, watch the video since this is such a complex subject. I have a few videos on how to do it right, all of which are in the playlist that goes along with this video. But if you have a few songs ready for release, so you could put out one every 6 to 8 weeks, you could really take advantage of the Spotify algorithm and how it helps promote you. The next step happens 30 days before you want your song to come out, which is to make sure you do everything right to submit to an editorial playlist properly. This means submitting your single to the distributor 30 days in advance and writing a really good editorial playlist pitch. To make this even more clear, Spotify only allows you to submit one song at a time, and they recommend you put it up those 30 days in advance and a minimum of 7 days in advance Otherwise, you lose the greatest chance you have of doing very little work to have your song get on Spotify playlists, and if you release songs without doing that, you're essentially throwing away a lottery ticket. And if you don't know how to make a great editorial playlist pitch, I have one of my most popular videos on how to write one, which has helped tons of musicians, which you can click on the screen now or in the description below. But you're probably wondering what you should be doing now with 30 days to go before your song comes out, and that's to start preparing your videos, photos, and stories that you're going to tell around your music. The time you spend getting things ready so that it's all as easy to launch as possible on release day is time that ensures your release goes as good as possible. Okay, but more on that later. As well, and this is going to come as a shock to some of my regular viewers as I'm going to retract information of what I've always said. One of the things we've seen change in recent months is instead of Spotify updating their playlist with 99% of releases from the current week of released music, instead we're seeing more and more songs added 2 to 3 weeks, even sometimes after, that are starting to get a lot of streams and traction. So this to me says I'm going to rescind my previous advice to never ask your audience to do pre-saves and instead do this. So there's a greater chance you run up the board and get early week streams and follows, and instead post your pre-save link 3 times a week for the 2 weeks before your single releases, as we need to do everything you can to get streams and engagement up on your song so it gets editorial playlists. I know I hate teasing music before people can listen to it. I think it's a big wasted opportunity, but it's also a big wasted opportunity to not do everything you can to not get the benefits of the explosive growth you can get from being added to a Spotify playlist. Now we're on step 4, and your song is finally out and we've made it to release day. Now let's remember, release days are a lot like throwing stones in a lake. The bigger the splash you make at first, the bigger ripple in the pond, and the easier it will be to promote your song. Now that's not to say that you don't need to sustain your promotion, which I would argue is actually more important than promoting your music on release day is continually promoting your song by telling compelling stories. But let's get back to release day. You want to make sure you're in front of your computer, responding to comments on YouTube and Instagram, talking to people on social media, telling stories, and getting the song out on message boards. You want to message every musician you have a relationship with and make sure they know about it so they'll hopefully share it and support you. Since the more people who hear it while it's fresh, the more chance the algorithms will push it and get seen by others and can spread and will impress that playlist editor who's going to be staring at your pitch. As well, if you're getting added to playlists, be sure to share them on your socials so the playlisters are encouraged to keep adding you in the future. While not everyone has Spotify, most people do, and those who don't are used to looking up songs on other services, so I like to link to Spotify. I do these links with pre-save links, which since your song is out now, is just going to link the song and allow people to follow you. Let's remember, these follows are important since for every one you get, you end up on another release radar playlist, and they set your future singles up for success. Always try to work in a nudge to follow you on Spotify while promoting your music can help pay off, and it will put you in more release radar playlists and discover weekly playlists and increase your performance each time you release a new song. Also, if you let your fellow musicians know you have a new track and they add it to their artist playlist and you do the same for them, this is going to increase the chances your song gets added to quality Spotify editorial playlists. As well, since your song's now out, make sure you upload a Spotify canvas to your single. Since it is proven to get it more streams, it looks so much better when someone shares it to their Instagram stories. Step 5 happens as soon as you release your song. Since Spotify editorial playlists can only be pitched pre-release, there's nothing you can do to pitch them again aside from releasing an alternate version. But you can pitch user playlists. To find the user playlist that you can pitch, use the service Playlist Supply, which for $20 a month allows you to search similar artists and genres for playlists that may put you on them. And if you want to learn more, of course I have a video on this. Just make sure you don't pay anyone who asks for money to get you on a playlist, as that's some con art, and they are a ripoff. As well as those, you can employ the services Playlist Pitch or Submit Hub, as they allow you to pay for consideration to be put on playlists. But be choosy about which playlists you submit there. The people who find those services work best are those who are very picky about who they give money to submit for consideration. But here's the thing, it never works to carpet bomb those services, and everyone I know who they work well for, it's best to just submit to a few playlists who seem like the best fits for you. But listen up, since this is new, the more quality, not bought playlists, but quality and genuine user playlists you get put on, the more likely you're to get placed after your release on Spotify editorial playlists, which can get you tons of streams. Step 6 is to make your own artist playlists and find small acts in your genre and add to them and then tag them on social media. What I'm talking about is make a playlist of your local scene, maybe people in your microgenre, people who have written songs about the same thing, or whatever creative ideas you have. If you do this every 2 weeks and continually update the different playlists you make while using social media to tag who you add, you can get fans of similar artists to listen to your music and gain new fans every week. This is one of those techniques that takes a good amount of research to find good artists who are the right size and some hustle on tagging them on social media, but it's the best trick I know for finding the right type of fans. You could also do this by making DJ sets on Spotify Music and Talk, where you could also build relationships with fans by showing off your personality on them and then doing the same @tagging technique on that and alternating weeks between the two. Particularly, I like to tweak this technique and every 2 weeks update the Spotify artist playlist you keep of your community, but also add to the artists in your community to a Spotify Music Plus talk show where you play your favorite music to bond with fans and show them your community. But you can also @tag the artists on Twitter and Instagram you play, and if they share it, you can grow your fan base. Step 7 is to make sure you tell stories for the duration of your singles. One of the hardest things for musicians to do seems to be to keep their attention on talking about their song and making content that keeps reminding people to listen. Whether this is pics from a video, telling stories about what the song is about, doing playthroughs, a boxing of the DAW session, talking about the lyrics, or showing behind the scenes or whatever else you could do to get fans to be reminded to keep listening and growing their relationship with your music. I have a whole playlist on how to do this if it interests you. Which brings me to our last step. Remember that collaboration remixes, features, and split releases are some of the best marketing to build your Spotify. Since not only do you get artist page visibility where their fans will see your name on their page when you do one of these, but you also get to be put in their release radar playlists of the other artists and get tied to them algorithmically, increasing the chances of you being on their fans Discover Weekly and countless other benefits. I recently made a video on how collabs, features, remixes, and split releases are the greatest opportunity in music marketing in the history of music, and even bigger than editorial playlists. So please go deeper by clicking that link in the description if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, and the real final last step is to repeat. Let's remember, this never works unless you're using consistent, sustained promotion, meaning you need to release music regularly, and just putting out 2 to 3 tracks is not going to do the trick today. Instead, you have to release a string of songs and sustain it, as well as working hard to promote it. If you watch who Spotify works best for, they are regularly releasing singles and following this technique. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to get subscribed and notified, as this is what we talk about here, and know that I answer every comment down below, so feel free to hit me there. There's a playlist that's about to be up on the screen that has every one of the videos I just mentioned, so if you click there or in the description, you can kick back and watch it and learn even more on how to win at Spotify in 2022. Otherwise, I have tons more videos on how to go from 0 to 10,000 fans that are linked below. Get subscribed and please like the video. Thanks for watching.